All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Mission 2 of the series. Let's get into it. Of course, we're going to listen in on the briefing to find out what we have to do for this mission. Let's listen.
Sicario is moving west, ladies and gents. Information coming out of country has been spotty, but, well, let's just say there's a demand for people of our pedigree. The Federation's been eyeing a takeover of Cascadia's resources for years, as far as I remember. And it seems the Cascadians weren't going to take it lying down, based on what info has been leaked out. For those of you who don't know, Cascadia is a nation along North America's western seaboard, one of the largest on Earth, and one of the most prosperous due to its abundant natural resources and geothermal energy deposits. I've never been, but I hear it's beautiful. A country with limitless energy at its fingertips. I know some of us who were born out here in the periphery can't even imagine it, but I'm sure this hits closer to home for some of you. Moving along. There's a communications blackout both in and out of the country. And as far as the international news goes, nothing is going on except a few riots. Based on the Mercenary networks, however, that is a complete lie. A full-blown conflict is proceeding. We've reached out and were given a rendezvous by a Cascadian group called the Independence Force, the main anti-Federation group recognized by the national government. I presume the Federation has the borders on lockdown to stop people like us from coming in, so stay on our toes. If we get found out by a patrol, we'll send one of our flights off to take care of them.
Sicario is moving northwest towards a rendezvous point set by Cascadia's Independence Force. We don't expect any heavy resistance given our route of ingress. However, each of our fighter groups will be pulling ships to preserve fuel and ammo. Hitman team, you will be responsible for the last leg of the journey, which will take us over into Cascadia proper. Be prepared to intercept border patrols.
I know some of you might not be too enthused to be fighting the Federation, so I invite you to leave with what you have of your contract. You'd only slow us down.
Alright, so that is the job for Mission 2. Hope you guys enjoyed my last upload, the first episode of the series. I forgot to mention why I was even doing this. For those who don't know, though many of you I'm sure you do know, is that the F-4 is my favorite aircraft of all time. And I figured, hey, it's a pretty low, I would say very low tier aircraft in this game. Why don't we combine it on the hardest difficulty and make a big challenge out of it? And if I do beat the series, I can say, maybe the F-4 isn't so bad. As you can see here, I don't have all the planes, but that's no problem, because the only plane we need is this bad boy right here. I actually like the high-impact standard missiles that we used in the last episode, so I'm going to use them again right here. That was actually my first time using them. Because we don't have any air-to-ground targets, we're going to use this thing, which is a monster, an absolute sledgehammer, these heavy gun pots. The only thing I wish is that wasn't also in the spot where you can only carry air-to-ground weapons, but such is life. And I think we're going to use, since this is an air superiority mission, we're just going to use the classic, Air Force white skin. And this happens to have the Cascadian markings on it, so perfect. Let's rock and roll. I don't love air-to-air missions, truthfully, but got to do this one. So this one's definitely probably going to be harder. Oh, and of course, who could forget? I come in and I immediately start yawing. So not only is this isn't a bug, this is a feature of the PS5 version of Project Wingman, which is that even if you have the rudder and throttle swapped, you got to swap them again, so that when I press the same button, I use my afterburner. The other funny thing is that the game spawns you in the wrong direction. So as you can see here, I'm facing this way, and the enemy spawned behind me. So that's why you don't slam the afterburners, you're going in the wrong direction. I'm glad that I forgot to do the swap rudder and throttle, so that bug will be forever etched in this game's history on PS5. Because guys. It's so funny that this game released in 2023 and it's 2026 and it still hasn't been patched yet. It's honestly impressive. Let's save some of these SAMs here. We'll give these high-impact standard missiles a try here. Bam! Went down pretty well. Got one of the Su-30s. Amazingly, those things take 3 missiles there. Now, for those of you who may be used to a lot of, just braking and turning to get behind your target, this walkthrough is going to feature a much different avenue of attack, simply because that's the only way to beat the game on Mercenary difficulty with the F-4, which is a lot of sort of high-speed, sort of rotational and vertical axis combat, because that's really the only way that the F-4 can fight. Actually, more true to life, which I think is interesting, as opposed to just, turning in a circle constantly to get behind your, opponents. So for those who are big fans of that, it's also somewhat realistic. So you get to see it. Ordinarily, if I was flying something like a Project Wingman, I would be, just slamming the brakes, using the AOA, and just immediately turning to get behind guys. But with the F-4, this has no AOA. This thing basically is a flying brick. So you have to use different approaches in order to destroy these targets. So for those who are kind of bored with the standard approach, you get to see a different way of taking down these targets. This is going to be a close call, because this missile's approaching quickly. Yep, alright, we managed to do it in time. Trying to use the semi-active guidance. Managed to get one there. The high-impact standard missiles are basically almost like, if I was carrying the HPAA from Ace Combat, has its use. Probably shouldn't have dropped the SAA there, but we got the kill nonetheless. So you can see I like to keep my speed up in the F-4, because that's kind of what you have to do. A lot of head-on attacks as well, because I don't want to show you guys, because otherwise this video would be an hour long if I attempted to use the F-4 like the Project Wingman. Let me just get behind an enemy and try and constantly brake and turn in order to basically destroy them. It would never work. It doesn't work. Might work with some other planes. In fact, you can kind of see it here, right? Now I'm engaging in the horizontal, not working all too well. The F-4 takes a long time to get behind targets. I know I downed it, of course. So I'm kind of looking for, better targets, better angles on targets here. Like, this was a head-on shot. Sort of. The plane then took a weird angle there. And we haven't had to use any of our heavy gun pods yet, but once you see, those things pack serious punch. In fact, why don't we show you what they can do here? If my F-4 can get behind this guy, you can see it's very, very challenging. Because this is basically an F-4 trying to dogfight, an Su-37. When is that ever going to work? So we're gonna try it here. You can see just how much slower this is. Even that didn't get him. So this is why I say I don't bore you guys with this constant, turning in a circle. I'm even stalling, trying to get behind this guy. This is why this doesn't work with the F-4. I'm glad I was able to demonstrate it sort of early. So now that you've seen why I'm not doing that, we will no longer have to do that. Instead, we'll continue with the F-4 strengths, which is, rotational combat, vertical combat, hitting them from beyond visual range with missiles, which was actually what the F-4 was originally designed for. So I didn't have a gun because they thought all this combat, this is how it was gonna be fought. Turns out that wasn't the case, and unfortunately it was quite hampered by that. Even then, it still managed to best the MiG-21 as the largest distributor of MiG parts. I don't know why I dropped 2 missiles there. Oh, well, I guess that was a good idea. It took 2 missiles for some reason. But you can see now we're back to good timing with these targets. Target killing ratios, that is. We don't have to go back to that turning fight, whatever that was. I guess one of those missiles missed. That was an FC-15, not the FS-15. So you can see, not going to engage in a turning fight with those guys. Is that a Ace F-4 I'm seeing there? Did I see Mountaineer? Let's take a look at that. That should get him. We're going to keep our speed up here. Another head-on approach. And you can see just how much better it looks here. And why I do it. How much better time we're making here, keeping the speed up and everything. But I hope you guys enjoyed my last gameplay video as much as I did. I really love Project Wingman. I think it's a great game. Definitely can hang with some of the top Ace combats. And I find this game to be very fun. So I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I enjoy playing it. And of course, I enjoy it the most flying my favorite plane and flying it for the entire duration of this series. So what's not to like, you know? It's always interesting. It's easier when there's more than one enemy. When there's only one enemy, it's like the only real avenue I have here is to, try and fight this guy in the vertical, which, as we've elucidated, is not the best approach. So, we'll give this guy a taste of the heavy gun pod here. Here we go. Now this is the tricky part of the mission. As you can see, we got a lot of targets, and this is where we're going to need our health, trying to take out these warships. In fact, I may let my teammates try and chip off some of the warships. The only issue with that is, of course, is that they tend to carry missile launchers, so this could inadvertently make things much more difficult. So we're going to see how well this goes initially. I really say I do quite like the high impact standard missiles. Yeah, you can see the railguns are starting to come out, so now we got to shift gears, unfortunately. This is where stuff like the MLAAs would come in handy, but unfortunately we're not packing it. You can see I just tanked a railgun shot there. This is actually getting a little tricky, I must say. I'm starting to sweat a little bit because there's a lot going on, and I don't have a particularly good plane here. You can see I went from started with 97%. Now I'm all the way down to 82. Definitely don't want to go below 50, but we might be able to sink one of these battle cruisers here, or sink. I love how I said that in respect to a aerial plane. We're going to sink this aerial plane. Just goes to show you how much my focus is divided. But fortunately, we got one of them. In retrospect, I probably maybe should have brought some of the multi-lock air-to-air missiles. You know, but you live and you learn. Yep. And I'm just getting lit up by these railguns. Unfortunately.
Enemy aircraft shut down.
Yeah, we're gonna have to play very conservatively here.
Hitman 1, missile away.
Now that my health is below 50%. In fact, I'm gonna be dumping some of these SAAs here. I could also try using my gun pod, but that's a little tricky because you have to slow down quite marketably, and that's not a good idea when you have railguns that are constantly trained on you. So we basically got to keep the speed up here. Yeah. You can see Mission 2 already getting tricky here. Just by my silence, I'm sure you can tell that I'm sweating here. I mean, wouldn't you? But in case anyone thought that, you know, this would be too easy, well, here you go. In fact, the planes are the easy one. It's this damn airship right here. And you'd think that my teammates might help me out here. So, here you go. Here's something for you. You got a singular health point. So we're going to see who wins this battle. Somehow I managed to take damage there and survive. Just instinctively dropping flares, even though there were no missile locks. And I'm sure you can tell by how quiet it is, how much I'm shitting bricks, to say the least. But looks like amazingly the F-4 managed to hold up with a singular health point. Now you can say what you want. Definitely didn't do my best flying there. But in case you thought this mission was going to be easy, or this challenge series was going to be easy on Mercenary difficulty, Mission 2 survived with a singular health point. So, just putting all the naysayers to rest. This game is no joke on Mercenary, and especially the F-4. Ooh. As Chopper, War Dog 3 himself would say, I need to wipe the sweat off my brow, because that was something right there. I can feel the relief just now that I only have to land, you know. Now, I know what you're saying, you know. You probably should have brought the, you know, the Sparrows, the multi-lock air-to-air missiles, and you're probably right. But I had to make do with what I had here. In fact, this runway is so short, I'm going to have to go for another go around here, unfortunately. So there you go. You guys are seeing all sorts of things falling apart over here. I love it. Runway's too damn short for the F-4. Anyway, back to what I was saying. I know what you're thinking in that I should have brought the multi-lock air-to-air missiles. But I didn't have them. I had to make do with what I had. And so we made the best. We made lemonade out of lemons, so to speak. But hey, it's not supposed to be easy. Also, this is a very weird landing angle the game's giving me here. It's like zoomed in on the back and zoomed out the front. All right. Well, you guys got to see a lot of what some may consider bloopers, but this is the reality of playing on Mercenary in this game, especially those who've played Ace Combat but not Project Wingman.
Thanks to your efforts, Sicario was able to rendezvous with our contact and refuel for the mission ahead. You'll be heading back out within the hour, so stay on your toes, or else your time in Cascadia will be short-lived.
And I pretty much did that all on my own out there. My allies really didn't help me all that much with the land battleships, air battleships that we wanted to sink. Anyway, guys, that was quite a mission too. I hope you enjoyed it. Obviously, since it was uploaded, you know I succeeded, but in the midst of playing it, I had no idea I was going to succeed. So there you go, Mission 2. Look forward to Mission 3, and lots more challenge ahead if Mission 2 was that close to call. Peace out, my friends. We'll see you on the next one.